I'm going to take a short break from all of my analog work in the Abrahamic material in the Bible. And I'm finding a lot of variations that I need to kind of nail down there. It's a big project, and I don't want to make mistakes with it. Although I can see there's enough variations in Bibles that there's going to be, I've got to do some sorting there and get as far upstream as I can. My name is Dan Paulson. Welcome to the video. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to interpret the Tao. I'm just going to do something simpler. It doesn't have all that numbering, all that layering. This is one layer, turn it inward, interpret it, move on type of material. I want to say with respect to translations, first of all, you want to be open to as much as you can if you're a true seeker. I remember as a kid being told when it came to the Bible, oh, what about Buddhism or something? I think I was in my early teens or something. And the person, I remember who it was, cautioned me strongly against other material, that there's, demonic things in there, that there's things that'll lead you astray. And certainly my family roots came from where? Arkansas. Yeah, Bible Belt. I'm going to tell you that what I see from some of my relatives is an incredible embraced ignorance. They know very little, but their egos are bigger than anything I've ever seen. They look down on you from up. They think they're on a high horse. They don't realize it's a broomstick pony. But that's what happens. You know that story? Yeah, get away from anybody that says limit your material. The reason I'm saying that is because as I get into the Tao, there are multiple translations. And what I'm going to do is take a little bit of liberties here. What I want to do is read the Stephen Mitchell. I like it, but there are some things about it that I don't like. Some things he did that were purposeful modifications that I will probably extract them as I go through here. But if you read through these, you will see that they were interpreted by different people, that the language, the original language, doesn't translate into English word for word. There's concepts. They had to figure things out. If I read a couple of verses side by side here, listen, these are exactly the same thing, and listen to what they sound like between two different translations. I'll just grab one randomly and just part of it. All life began without words. Life is made, and no one owns it. The Tao is neither selfish nor proud. The Tao is generous and grateful in what it does, without ever claiming any merit. All right, now moving to a different translation. Same verse. Therefore, the Master acts without doing anything and teaches without saying anything. Things arise and she lets them come. Things disappear and she lets them go. She has but doesn't possess, acts but doesn't expect. When her work is done, she forgets it. That is why it lasts forever. They don't even sound the same. Not at all. They're both interpreted by somebody who did their best in their mind to go, I think I know what they're trying to say there. I'm going to use these words because that's what I think. And that's what you end up with. What you need to do instead of saying I'm going to read one is I'm going to read as many as I possibly can. And what you'll notice is that there's some things in here that I don't like. Sometimes, depending on who did the translation, they're using a lot of Western verbiage in place of something that wasn't there. Somebody might use something like God and heaven and earth, which are not concepts in Taoism. It's, greater being, goodness, badness, something like that. But somebody's trying to translate it. And what happens there is people from the West read that and go, oh, this is about God and heaven and earth. And it is not. It is not. And I've ran into a scolding by somebody who, they've deleted their comment. It was a long time ago I did the Tao, and I made some comments in there. They scolded me and said there's only one translation that I should be using, and it's only this one. And of course it has that heaven and hell in there. But the person was also telling me that the Tao proves Christianity. So it's so whacked out at some point. You're like, when somebody tells you start limiting things, you're going to run into a nutcase right there. Get rid of them. You need to have data points to make a decision. When you have one data point, you're just doing what you're told to do. You're not making your own choices. You think you're making your own choices, but you're just accepting what you were given. Okay, for the seekers, we don't do that. I want to know for myself. I can make the decision about whether or not this is good or bad, and when this sounds loving and peaceful and this one sounds perverted, Abram and Sarai, let's see, Abram gives his wife Sarai to Pharaoh because she's beautiful and Pharaoh likes her, and so Pharaoh has sex with her, but in return gives Abram animals and slaves, but then finds out, oh, they lied to me. Why did you do that? Take your wife, take your animals and slaves and get out of Egypt. Leave me alone. This is in Genesis. Genesis 12. Abram, this is how the religion starts. And they're going to tell you, after Abram, God's chosen, leaves Egypt with slaves, animals, his wife, and sloppy seconds, that you should not read anything else. Bullshit. Get away from people like that. You need data points. Now, that having been said, people that know me know that I am all over the Bible. There is a template that it is framed upon, and that story is not a true story. That story is holding a conceptual idea that has to do with the mental hierarchy with Abram, Sarai being my conscious, my subconscious, like an Adam and Eve, and that being corrupted by Pharaoh and taking things on is the same thing as being corrupted by the serpent and then being kicked out of the Garden of Eden and then having pain in childbirth and being stuck to the planet. There's a template in the background that's rolling along that is harder to see. But the people that can't see that template are standing by the religion. How do you justify that? You cannot. There will I have people that try and they sound like morons. It's like you cannot justify that. You can make up excuses. That's what you get. Well, that just means that people fail. God just created the entire universe, put them in a famine, turns his back while this stuff is going on, and that he doesn't step in and fix that. He sends plagues to, yeah, that's weak. It's humorous, actually, to think that people would try to justify that as something that really happened and that it's okay. What the hell? Okay, let's move on from that. The emphasis here is, I know that in Christianity, there's a heavy emphasis on maintaining ignorance. It's not called maintaining ignorance. It's called avoiding evil. It's not evil. Don't listen to what you're told. Go find out for yourself. Can you decide for yourself? Okay, what he did here, we heard. I read it. The she, her, and what he did, this is a little bit bigger than just making a change. I don't like any changes to original material. You leave it alone because of certain reasons. The male-female in much material is a mental hierarchy. When you play it out in the psyche, it means your conscious decisions and the storage where you put everything that continues to act out in life, what we become based on our perceptions. That is a mental hierarchy that they call male, the conscious, who makes all the decisions and creates and controls what the female becomes, because the female is our inner self, which is our memories and our perceptions of those memories right there. And that is what acts out. So you don't want to interfere with the potential that they're using a hierarchy in a patriarchal society, which is exactly what they were doing. Now, that doesn't happen in here. They're not using that hierarchy. Nevertheless, in all cases, it's not about man or woman. It's about an individual that's going on the path. So really, when they say, if you overesteem great men, people will become powerless. So it says men there. Why wouldn't you be able to say, if you overesteem great women, people become powerless? And that's what he's done. He's kind of mixed it up a little bit here to try and balance it out to make it sound more fair. And it's okay what he did. What I would prefer, if I was to make the modification, and I still wouldn't want to, I would want to do it in my mind. I don't want to make a downstream modification from the original material at all. I want it to stay what it is. But I know that men means anybody, that it means sage, master, whoever. If you wanted to change it and make and balance out the gender, if you wanted gender neutrality in the material teaching so that it doesn't sound like it's heavy towards man, then just say sage, master, whoever it is that goes on the path. So I struggle a little bit with his modifications. I know why he put them in, but I think that it's a mistake always to, in this case, you do your best to make a translation, but then you're purposefully doing something that is not right. So anyway, as I read through, if I make modifications, I will change it from male or female gender to master or sage, which is exactly what the intent should really be. This is for anybody that takes the path. Okay, I'm going to start. Every bit of this can be understood and interacted with. Every bit of it. It's built on a template by a human being who is teaching us something. This is my guru. This is me walking up to Lao Tzu on the mountain in China 2,500 years ago someplace and saying, Master, what is life about? I don't get it. I heard. He begins. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. The unnameable is the eternally real. Naming is the origin of all particular things. Free from desire, you realize the mystery. Caught in desire, you see only the manifestations. Yet mystery and manifestations arise from the same source. This source is called darkness. Darkness within darkness. The gateway to all understanding. Okay, this sets it up. This is the master telling me, here it is. It's cryptic. It's not in plain language. You go figure it out. If I tell you in plain language, you're going to know it academically. If you really want to know, I'm going to tell you cryptically, and you're going to have to walk off and go figure this out, figure it out, figure it out. And when that is happening, your brain is wiring. By the time you've got this figured out, you're not going to know it academically, you're going to know it experientially. It's like learning to drive. You start off going, I read the book. I know what you're supposed to do. But you get behind the wheel first time, what happens? You really don't know it experientially yet. You know it academically. That's what happens here in a similar process. It's a mental process, and you need to figure it out. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. The Tao, what is the Tao? We have to identify that first. In all material, there's a way of existence, a way of life. Every one of us exists in the Tao. What the Tao is like if you were in Christian material, you would say that I am living with the graces of God, which means I am having a good life. Somewhere else you might say I have nirvana. I am experiencing this inner peace and joy. And those are goals that we're looking for. But along the way, we are living in an experience that is based on our life experiences and the way that we're holding our memories. When this says the Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao, what that is getting to, if we think through it, this can be worded differently. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao, then what could we change that to? What is the eternal Tao? The Tao that is experienced is the eternal Tao. This is where we change it from academic to experiential. Right here, it's telling me it's a mental process. The Tao that can be told is not the eternal Tao. You hurt? Listen to what I have to say. I'm going to read all this stuff, every bit of it. I get done. Do you feel better? Nope, you don't. Not until you go, Master, what do I do? And you sit down and start wiring your own brain with it. Does it become experiential? So that's what that means right there. It doesn't mean that you can't understand it. It means you can understand it if you experience it, if you process it through in your mind. If you're out there looking for it and going, yeah, it's something nebulous you can never get to, then it's something nebulous you can never get to. You got to stop and turn inward with it. Boom, there it is right there. The Tao that is experienced is the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. Naming is when we're bringing something into reality in our life experience. What it means is that we are perceiving something. Those are those memories and the perceptions. That's naming something. This happened. Ooh, I like it. You just named it. That happened. I don't like it and I feel ashamed. You've just named it. This is us coming online as humans. We're experiencing things. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. So what they're saying here is that from our inner experience, if we're not naming and classifying things, that we're experiencing the eternal background. It's like the higher being and other material. We're experiencing life from the universe. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. What is eternal is this place before we begin naming. Okay, so we're setting up here that it's mental, and that is we're starting from a place of not naming things, of not having experiences that we have classified and that have become a part of us. The unnameable is the eternally real. That goes right with it. As long as we don't classify or qualify something, we have power to do whatever. This is what we want to achieve at some point anyway. This is like our nirvana place to begin with, or Garden of Eden, naked, unashamed in the garden right here. We have not named things. Naming is the origin of all particular things. So it's letting us know here. Now we're coming online and we're going to start naming things. However, it tells us, free from desire, you realize the mystery. All these are, the terms are all analogous terms. It doesn't mean desire in the physical world. We have to be careful of that. Mystery, free from. What we have here is a mental process. Desire means I'm holding on to something. I've named something. I don't like that. Is that a desire? No, but I'm holding it in my mind. It's like a desire, one that I don't want. I'm holding it anyway. I don't want to, but I must be. It's still a desire. I'm holding on to something. Free from that, you realize the mystery. You realize the freedom of life. Caught in desire, you see only the manifestation. As we begin classifying and qualifying things, that becomes the manifestations. Caught in those, caught in what we classify, caught in what we experience, we continue to experience those in life. They're going to go with us and continue to define our life as long as they're in place. Yet mystery and manifestations arise from the same source. This source is called darkness. That means all the good and the bad happens to anybody from everybody wherever you come from. It's a decision making. The energy for us to have a good life or the energy for us to have a bad life is the same source. It's the mental qualifications or the filtering that we give it that dictates the quality of our life in the end. This source is called darkness, darkness within darkness, the gateway to all understanding. The darkness is there's a gateway right there. We're turning inward. Okay, what did we have here in number 1? It's a mental process. Everything in the beginning is a void. Then as you begin to name things, it comes online. Free from hanging on to stuff, you experience wonder. Caught in things, you see the return of those. And they all come from the same place, the cosmic source. 2. When people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. What happens after Adam and Eve get kicked out of the Garden of Eden is there's a division that takes place, a good and a bad. And we're going to see that right here. This is where it is viewed in a much more simple way, without all the big story behind it. This is the divisions of how things happen, how we become what we are, how the brain works. When people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. When we're little kids, you could be sitting in a play box someplace. A couple of little kids sitting there. One of them comes from got the rich mom over there with the Mercedes and the fancy clothes and all that kind of stuff, playing in the sandbox with a little kid with a dirty diaper, and mom over there smoking a cigarette and having a beer and, lives in the trailer park across the street. I'm just trying to create an image here. I don't mean to pick on anybody. I'm not. Those two little kids don't care. They don't. They have not judged that. They look back and forth and go, who's got something? Oh, Twinkies, candy, something? Yeah, whatever. There's a point where we have not decided what is good or bad yet. But then what happens? We grow up. When people see some things as beautiful, other things become ugly. When people see some things as good, other things become bad. We're creating the decisions. We are looking at life and classifying. I like this. I don't like that. Ooh, that's good. That's that. We are becoming this product. Being and non-being create each other. Difficult and easy support each other. Long and short define each other. High and low depend on each other. Before and after follow each other. Before and after, what is that? Cause and effect. Being and non-being create each other. All of it is cause and effect. Difficult and easy support each other. Yeah, that's right there. Therefore, the master acts without doing anything and teaches without saying anything. You're just allowing things to be without judging, qualifying, classifying. This does not mean stepping in and saying, hey, stop hurting them. This means we're on a spiritual path here. This is not about rectifying people in the world. It's about rectifying our own spiritual life. Things come and she lets them go. This is where I'm going to change it. Things come and the master lets them come. Things disappear and the master lets them go. The sage has but doesn't possess, acts but doesn't expect. When the sage's work is done, the master forgets it, and that is why it lasts forever. Okay, so this is really just kind of a let things be, don't judge, don't classify, just allow life to unfold. The Tao is a way of life, and what is happening is that's going to happen. Instead of fighting what's happening in life, that's what happens when we're living normally. It's not okay. So I'm dealing with this. I'm dealing with that. Life goes on, and we don't realize we're in a flow, and you're going to keep dealing with those things because you're in that flow. You got to stop dealing with stuff, step back and go, oh, this is my Tao. And I fit here because of the qualities of what I have named as beautiful and ugly. I need to let all of that go. If you overesteem great people, others become powerless. If you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal. This is about the physical world right here. Yeah, when people are raised to high elevations, well, I'll leave out the current political state. This exactly fits. If you overesteem great men, people become powerless. If you overvalue possessions, people begin to steal. The master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores. What do we want to do when we're emptying minds? What does Buddha want you to do? Seek emptiness. What does Jesus say? Blessed are the poor in spirit. We're looking for this emptiness and this devoid of things right here. The master leads by emptying people's minds. That's what you're doing. And filling their cores, values, the knowledge of compassion, empathy. I feel for those people. But we get to, and I'm going to help them, but we get to a point where it's like, I feel for those people. I'll give them a little bit, but I'm not giving up my wealth. I'm above them. Things happen in a society that's different. The master leads by emptying people's minds and filling their cores, by weakening their ambitions and toughening their resolve. He helps people lose everything they know, everything they desire, and creates confusion in those who think that they know. Practice not doing, and everything will fall into place. That's what I'm doing right here, trying to create confusion in people who think they know. People get mad. You can't understand that. Yeah, you can. You can't. You turn it inward. Turn it inward. This will get you to the same place. So will the Bible. So will all of them if you know how to read them. There's one core reality. One core reality. And it's not anything facing outward. It's inward. And it's where we come from. It's our source. It takes us to our source. The Tao is like a well, used but never used up. This is our life. Yeah, we're using it. We're always there. It's like an eternal void filled with infinite possibilities. Yep, whatever happens, happens. I've had some people say the Tao is like getting into the zone or something like that. That's not true. We're always in the Tao. What's the quality of your life is the quality of your Tao. If it's good, you're in a good Tao. You got good things. If it's bad, we got other issues. We've called too many things ugly and beautiful and tasty and yeah. Okay, it is hidden but always present. I don't know who gave birth to it. It is older than God. See, that's one of those right there that you go, okay, that one doesn't sound right. Let me pull from somewhere else. That's number 4. It has been shaping things from before the first being, from before the beginning of time. You see that the God reference is not there. It's before the first life. I do not know from whence it comes. It is the forefather of the emperors. So you got to be careful about those terms in there. So that right here, it is older than God. It is older than, yeah, we don't know. It's just been around forever. Let's call it that. The Tao doesn't take sides. It gives birth to both good and evil. Yeah, whatever our life becomes comes from the same source. We're not giving, we're given different opportunities at birth from where we start from, but we're all in the same flow of energy. What's different between us is we're born with slight different characteristics, but basically, as we start having life experiences, where do you come from? You could take triplets at birth from Australia, separate them around the world, put one in Saudi Arabia, one in Alabama, one in the outback. They grow up and they become completely radically different things. If they didn't know of each other and they met each other 40 years later and didn't know they were brothers, they argue and fight about who is correct. What happened? It's just a mental process. What were you trained? What were you given? And then told, don't look for other data points. The Tao doesn't take sides. It gives birth to both good and evil. The Master doesn't take sides. The Master welcomes both saints and sinners. Not judging. It's just not qualifying and classifying things. Those are things that you don't ignore and say it can't be dealt with. You still deal with the things. You don't hang on to it mentally until it creates an emotional charge that you live through. That is what creates our flow in the Tao. The more you use it, the more it produces. The more you talk of it, the less you understand. Hold on to the center. I don't know about that. The more you talk of it, the less you understand. I think I listen to a lot of people talk about the Tao that you get done listening to them and go, I don't know what those guys even just said. It sounds like religion. When you turn it inward and you find that there's interactive mental steps that describe your life, how you came about, why it is the way it is, and what you do to rectify it. If you get there, you find the template. If you're going on and on about afterlife stuff, you're not treating it, you're not finding the core template, but you could live a lifestyle that's a Taoist lifestyle that is good and peaceful, and it's going to be comfortable and feel much better than caught up in stuff all the time. The Tao is the Great Mother, empty yet inexhaustible. It gives birth to infinite worlds. It is always present within you. You can use it any way you want. So there's this heavy emphasis in the beginning on this is just, you're in charge. You're in the driver's seat. Do you know that? You're in charge. You're in the driver's seat. Do you know that? It's the way you're naming and classifying things. Do you know that? It's hitting us in the face with it. The Tao is infinite, eternal. It's always there. Why is it eternal? It was never born. Thus it can never die. Why is it infinite? It has no desires for itself. Thus it is present for all beings. The Master stays behind. That is why the Master is ahead. The Master is detached from all things. That is why they are one with him. Because they have let go, they are perfectly fulfilled. That just means not holding on to things. We've got everything straightened out. Everything is good in life. And then what happens? The Tao just flows okay. You're flowing down a river. You got a smooth path, or do you have or you grab into a bunch of stuff along the way that's going to slap you against the walls and things like that? What is the flow? You have to let go of things to flow smoothly. The more we hold on to things, the less smoothly we flow. And that is a mental thing. That is not grasping physically. That is, God, I can't deal with that. I hate that. I'm tucking that away. I got shame. I'm never going to deal with this. These are the things we're hanging on to that are creating our flow in life. The supreme good is like water, which nourishes all things without trying to. Yeah, everything that emerges, we're going to create our lives, and this is heavy emphasis on that. It is content with the low places that people disdain. Thus, it is like the Tao. So it's just water, Tao. They're trying to correlate the idea that this is just a flow. But the flow is based in cause and effect, based on what we've judged, classified, named in life. And we're going to continue to see the manifestations of the things that we desire. The desire is, I don't want to let anybody know. I'm hiding that away. I hate that. But I'm not going to let anybody know. Meanwhile, it's there just acting out all the damn time anyway, isn't it? In dwelling, live close to the ground. Simplify life. In thinking, keep to the simple. Yeah, what's real? In conflict, be fair and generous. In governing, don't try to control. In work, do what you enjoy. In family life, be completely present. In work, do what you enjoy. I got to grab something from the Gospel of Thomas. Okay, Gospel of Thomas, verse 6. Halfway through, Jesus says, do not tell lies and do not do what you hate. Don't do what you hate. Do what you enjoy. Same thing, just depends on which side you're standing on. In family life, be completely present. When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everyone will respect you. Yeah, just be yourself. We'll try to live life. This is a pretty simple teaching here, isn't it? when we dissect it through, you still have to, or anybody has to at some point go through these and go, okay, that sounds weird. I heard him say that, made sense then, but I look at it on my own. What did he say? You keep working it through until you go, I got it. Okay, I understand it. That's when the Tao is being experienced or is ready to be. Fill your bowl to the brim and it will spill. Keep sharpening your knife and it will blunt. Chase after money and security and your heart will never unclench. Care about people's approval and you will be their prisoner. Do your work, then step back. The only path to serenity. So yeah, just not grasping, hanging on to, reaching for life. I need this, I want that. Instead, stop and rectify the storage in the mind and allow the flow to happen. Can you coax your mind from its wandering and keep to the original oneness? That oneness before we became all of this divided. Keeping to the original oneness is living through the higher awareness. Can you let your body become supple as a newborn child's? So this is not physical. This means like a rebirth. Can you allow your world to become a new one again? Can you allow your body to become supple like a newborn's child? Can you cleanse your inner vision until you see nothing but the light? Remove the mote from your eye. What do Western people think? The calcification in the pituitary gland or something like that? That has nothing to do with it. It's the mental perceptions that you don't want to deal with. People that live where there's no calcium in the water aren't psychic. Can you love people and lead them without imposing your will? Can you deal with the most vital matters by letting events take their course? Can you step back from your own mind and thus understand all things? Giving birth and nourishing. Giving birth and nourishing means setting something in motion, making a decision, and then making it happen. Giving birth in the spiritual world is creating something from an energy point that is going to manifest into the world. Cause and effect. Giving birth and nourishing, having without possessing, acting with no expectations, leading and not trying to control. This is the supreme virtue. I think that I look at this and I go, how do I accomplish being that way? And there's a point where I look at it and go, you know what? This goes back to the personality thing. I think I am that way. I'm kind of naturally that way. I don't want to get in front of the group and say, everybody follow me and do what do I say. I'm not that person at all. If I lead a group hike, which I've done in the past, I would be the one in the back, not the one in the front. A lot of people like that. It's like, yep, I'm here. Go ahead. Go wander. Have fun. Here's the trail. Go explore. I'll pick it up from back here. And some people like that. And then there were other leaders that would be like, okay, everybody get together. I don't see everyone. Come on. Where is everyone? And some people needed that. And other people were like, oh my God, I hated that. It was like adults having to hold hands walking down a street or something. So it depends on the kind of personality you are. There are people that want to stay in those groups and they don't like being out there on their own. And there's other people that go, my God, let me out of the group. We see it. All right. This is a good one right here. We're going to start picking up some fun stuff. This is number 11. We join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable. We work with being, but non-being is what we use. Okay, these are easy ones. This is a style that are analogous to myself. We join spokes together in a wheel, but it's the center hole that makes the wagon move. The wagon is me and my life. I am creating the wheel. We join spokes together in a wheel. So as I'm going along in life, I am creating the wheel to move my wagon along. But it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. So based on what is in the hub of that wheel is what dictates where that wagon goes through in life. It's another, well, I'll move on. We shape clay into a pot. I am the pot. My life is me shaping clay. But it's the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. It is what is inside of my being that I have control over. My body, I come about, and we may or may not want it. This want is another thing you have to be careful of. The things that you are holding on to that you don't want to deal with, those are things you want. You may say consciously, I don't want them. Then why the hell do you hold them? We hammer wood for a house. I am the house. I build myself through my life, but it's the inner space that makes it livable. You see, they're all the same thing. We work with being, but non-being is what we use. In the background, what is acting out is who and what we are. Actually, due to the length of this, I'll go to 12. I did a lot of setup, didn't I? It's so important to open up to material, to start seeing what's really there, to get out of the tribal, Abrahamic religion trap. Colors blind the eye, sounds deafen the ear, flavors numb the taste, thoughts weaken the mind, desires wither the heart. The master observes the world, but trusts their inner vision. They allow things to come and go. Their heart is as open as the sky. Okay, colors blind the eye. Sounds deafen the ear. In all of these cases, what we've got is, as we go along, things, we tend to strive for more and more and more. How could a color blind the eye? When we continue to see something that is a certain thing, we become less impressed by stuff that used to be impressive to us. As we continue to see more and more, we become dazzled by that, or can be, that the simple things are no longer enjoyable. Sounds deafen the ear. I don't hear anything but this or that. And then I hear some things I like. Now I want more. Oh, that's so cool. Pretty soon it's like, boy, that stuff I used to think was good is no longer good anymore. We grow and develop. We move this direction. Flavors numb the taste. That was good. I like that. I have that once a month. You're a kid. You get ice cream once in a while, maybe. And it's so special. Now you can get it all the time and it's not special at all anymore. We overdo it. Desires wither the heart. I got a nice buzz off that wine. Here I am 3 years later going, damn, I got a buzz off of that half box of wine. This is what happens to us. More. It takes more. And then life becomes difficult. The master observes the world and trusts their inner vision. They allow things to come and go. The heart is open as the sky. I'm also an individual that even though younger, I wanted certain things. I had a kind of a little bit different outlook, never quite as intense as other people's. Today, I'm like, I don't look to buy things. I don't want stuff. My life is good. I buy books. I like to stay home and study and do this. It's a pretty simple thing. But those are just kind of personality traits more than something that you work to strive towards. Maybe some people have to work towards striving to do them and to get the time away. You know, somebody that like has a hard time being on their own, extroverts that are just constant. Yeah, I can't see them doing this very well. It takes a lot of, for me, it's taken a lot of time away, disconnected. You got to let go of things. Anyway, let me know below if you want me to continue on with the Tao. I wanted to do that. I guess I just needed a break from what I've been doing. It's intense, and I get into something like this, and it's like, phew, I see this is an incredibly simple version of what is super, super deeply nested in Abrahamic material. This is very simple, where you come about and what happens. That one is incredibly complicated, but this one is really intended for you to be your guru, period. Where Abrahamic religion is intended to be, it's built on the same template, but the carrier case is not intended to be your guru. It's intended to be the vehicle that carries you through life and helps control and dictate your life. The different carrying case. And then where this is going to like just basically tell you how you came about and why you are the way you are and what you must do to change. The Bible tells you in creation how you come about, but then as the monomyth begins and the processes and the healing and going over and over again, this constant death and rebirth as we're cycling along is more indicative of what life is like. I fixed that. Oh, I feel wonderful. Oh my God, that's the best thing ever. And then time goes by and you're like, you know what? I got something else now that it wasn't as big then. But now that I've readjusted, it's as big to me now as that other thing was. I got to take care of this next. So we're going to be going through this constant healing process and growing process to try and let go of what hurts us and to rise above that and to become more living in from the cosmos or from the higher self or the Tao, however it's going to be put. It's all one teaching. None of it is plain language. People use it as plain language are not getting it. They're the carriers. That having been said, if you live a Tao lifestyle, you can pretty well recognize that. If you live a Buddhist lifestyle, you can pretty well recognize that. If you live a Abrahamic lifestyle, boy, that is completely unrecognizable. It's so variable that you don't know what it is. It's something completely different. Yet, the template is still the same. Okay, yeah, let me know if you want me to do more on, if you want me to keep going along with this. I guess I said I was going to do the whole thing. It would actually take a while, although I think if once you got into it and I'm not doing all that big setup, it goes along quicker. Like any of the material, it's going to get repetitive. It will. It's basically, you have, from your position in life, we all have, judged our life experiences and become products of those life experiences, and they continue to be part of our life. And that if we want them to not continue to be part of our life because they're continuing to cause us to flow in a bad way, then we have to rectify them. They're like little rudders in the water. Like, I can't go straight line. You got to get rid of this stuff. All right, I'll end this video. It has gone on pretty long. Let me know if you want more of the interpretation of the Tao. And I said I needed a break from the Genesis numbering, and I might still. It's a big thing. I'm still trying to find my best way or the farthest upstream material to use. I am now making comparisons with my online material with actually hard paper copies of the Torah in English to go as far upstream as I can with that. I found that where the Septuagint is the Greek Bible. What that is the Greeks made a Bible from the Torah. And I could see right off the bat, on day 7, they made that change. That 7 said 3 times, became 6, said once, and 7 said twice. Right there, the Greeks, and anybody pulling from the Septuagint, you got some number issues. I do too. So that's what I'm trying to sort through. Anyway, at some point, yeah, I needed a break from it and just kind of, I got synapses that need to kind of settle down or something up there. Sometimes your brain gets kind of fuzzy. Yeah, makes sense. All right. That's a good thing. That means it's growing. It doesn't stay that way. All right. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.